Good morning, it's Kinninigan. Trying to calm down. Like most people, I get a little grouchy in the morning until I get about a pot of coffee in me. Even my cats know not to mess with me when I first wake up. And so I'm trying to be nice here. Uh, I'm getting sick of just one thing in general, then I'm going to rant to you about something. So please share, like, subscribe. I do need some cigarettes today. That would be nice. And so if you could support the channel, yeah, I do not monetize my videos. And I'm going to give you a little secret here that I was taught by a Jesuit, a fourth degree knight in the Knights of Columbus who was trying to recruit me into joining their organization. He is also the one who, it's kind of funny, one of my subs just sent me something about Catholicism today. He told me a few secrets going on with mainly the United States and secret societies because at that time I was working for a debt collection agency, and one of the managers in my company, yeah, this is why I had to leave. You ain't going that fucking far up the corporate ladder unless you're taking an oath to Lucifer, let's be honest, especially in the banking industry. So the Jesuits were trying to recruit me, and just like the Masons, giving me certain secrets that they could tell people to try to get them to join their organization, which they're not always lies. This fucking no kings bullshit, okay? I'm getting sick of these people's mouths on the left saying words like fucking Nazi when they don't even know who the Nazis worked for. Um, now we're a fucking monarchy, right? I'm getting sick of this shit, okay? First, so I'm gonna have to give everyone a fucking history lesson here. So we're going to start where it all began. The Annals of Rome by Tacitus. Yes, this is a long piece of text. I'll give you the link if you want to read it. There's 12 books here. It is the entire history of the Roman Empire. And guess what Rome figured out pretty early on? Because the first sentence of the tactic, this is a long text, okay? It's the whole entire, this was written by a Roman historian named Tacitus, who goes through all the different things that Rome tried to do. Rome had to constantly shape and mold their governments and their emperors because shit was not working. All right. Rome had figured out a long time ago you cannot run authoritarian rule across the planet. It doesn't fucking work, which is why Rome hid itself and decided to use their proxies of secret societies to rule the planet. However, here's the first sentence of the Annals of Rome. Rome at the beginning was ruled by kings. Did you hear that? And the reason why they would use kings is only for one reason. That's for bloodlines. Because you are familiar with monarchies. And then what happens when you have a monarchy? You have royal blood, which then you start having incest, brothers marrying sisters. Yeah, shit. Where do you think George R. R. Martin got this game from Cersei and Jaime Lannister, brother and sister, having sex and children and putting their children up to become, kings out of incest? This was all based on real stuff. It doesn't work. So Rome abandoned the idea of a monarchy a long time ago. However, the monarchy would be reintroduced specifically in the Middle Ages. We all know that Europe specifically had kings and monarchies, and that would be more for a feudal type rule because king has absolute authority. Okay, these people running their mouths on the left have no idea that yeah, you would not be around in a quote unquote kingdom. All right, this is when Rome would decide to adopt their government into a senate. Our current government today is modeled after that Roman way of ruling, except we don't have an emperor, we have a president. So the king became the emperor, and it wasn't a monarchy. Now I'm going to tell you another secret about the United States that you did not know. So please support my channel. I was told this by a fourth degree knight in the Knights of Columbus, a secret that even I thought I knew American history. I didn't. So when America was first founded, you think George Washington was our first leader. He was not. We had 8 rulers before George Washington. When our country was first founded, it was going to be founded under a quote unquote constitutional monarchy. One of those leaders before George Washington was John Hancock. That's why his signature is so big on the Declaration of Independence. He was one of the rulers, and then they had decided early on that a constitutional monarchy was not going to work. And Rome, even at, in modern times, even, Rome had to abandon the idea of having a quote unquote emperor because an emperor or a king is basically, you could say it's the same thing, maybe. Monarchies don't have senates, which Rome did have. It gives the illusion of power to the people, but so there are no kings. I think what I'm more pissed about is this was a military parade yesterday for the 250-year anniversary of our military. Yeah, big deal. So yeah, Rome was actually going to start with kings. It's right here. It's the first line in the annals of Rome. Rome at the beginning was ruled by kings. Then they realized quickly, all right, it's not monarchies don't work. Monarchies, yeah, the kings can rule with absolute authority, but you have a very real chance of revolts happening, assassinations, all types of other shit. Well, that did go on in Rome, but I think you just get the idea. I'm just sick of these people running their mouths, calling fucking people kings and Nazis, and you think people are supposed to take you fucking serious? All right, I'm getting sick of this shit. Um, sorry. Well, I'm not apologizing. I don't need to. But I will tell you this. A lot of the Roman emperors were probably the same reptilian in different human skin suits. They just had to change their appearance and tactics every few years because shit wasn't working. I'm going to make a video about the Roman emperors, and you'll see how short they're, like Nero and Caligula, Claudius, Tiberius. They didn't rule for very long. It's probably the same reptilian, just using a different human form each time because they tried different things under. I know Roman history, and a lot of it failed. Secondly, I just want to say this: I am not for assassinations or killing of anyone, but I do find it strange. The day after I made that video telling you that we are pretty much at war with the Mexican drug cartels, and I had said in that video, don't be surprised if you start seeing Democrat politicians going down. Anyone ever see the movie Casino? Remember what happens at the end of Casino when the bosses get indicted and they decide in the back of the courtroom, hey, why don't we just, not take a chance with anyone ratting on us? Why don't we just kill everybody? And then there's that scene, infamously, where, yeah, the hitmen go around and take everyone out because they didn't, is that what's going on with Now, I know the guy that did this in Minnesota is supposedly a white guy. Yeah, I understand, but I find this really suspect right now. Um, yeah, no King's Night. Luckily, nothing really happened of this. We were supposed to have 1,800 riots yesterday, whatever. Um, I couldn't even find any news anywhere about the military parade, which is interesting. It's kind of interesting the day that we had a fucking military parade. All that was on the news was about this Democrat lawmaker getting shot, unfortunately. Yeah, how convenient. So I'm going to tell you this straight up. Don't be surprised in the coming days and weeks if you see more Democrats being assassinated by their own. This is what happens in a fucking, I don't, communism comes to mind. Like, this is shit that goes on in China. Xi Jinping. Yeah, criticize the CCP over in China. See how fast you don't wind up, yeah, MIA. And this is it's kind of funny. Accuse the other side of what you're guilty of, right? Because they are the ones trying to fucking push a monarchy onto the United States. Authoritarian rule. Can't speak up against the king or you go to the fucking gulag. So I'm getting sick of the propaganda coming from this side. Um, so yeah, one of the secrets I was taught by a fourth degree knight in the Knights of Columbus is America had 8 leaders before George Washington, and we were going to be a constitutional monarchy. Then they decided that wasn't going to work, so they switched to a presidency with elections, so we could choose our leaders. Right? Yeah. None of our presidents no bloodlines there to see. Yeah. Well, whatever. We could talk about the integrity of elections all day. Whatever. But I think you just get the idea. So what we're saying now is the flailing of this movement. It failed. There is insurgency actually fucking failed, but more of a threat to Democrats are about to turn into the hunted. When you make deals and you want to be bitch puppets of drug cartels in Mexico, this does not end well for you. I'm telling you right now. You better go watch Casino and the end scene in that movie where the bosses decide, why take the chance? Maybe they can rat on us. Why don't we just take everyone out? And there is going to be retaliation from these people. Because, like I said, Trump declared them a terrorist organization. And yeah, the enemy is within. Like I said, all their transgender and all that shit was all done on behalf of communist China to feminize military-age fighting men and to stop men and women from having babies, and of course the destruction of Christianity, which goes right back to Babylonian Talmud, which I'm also an expert on. So going back to the annals of Rome, yeah, Rome started out as a kingdom. Then they had to abandon that real fucking quick because they're like, this ain't going to work. Obviously, the government in Babylon wasn't working. Yeah, let's make a video about that one. Basically, the 300 Anunnaki ruled in different jurisdictions. Every jurisdiction had a ziggurat. Humans, Sodom and Gomorrah is what was going on in Babylon. So, yeah, there's some very... You want to read the Annals of Rome? Whatever I can get. Can I get an audiobook for this? Actually, I don't even need to. You could do speech, text to speech now with a lot of programs, but I use it as a reference. Yeah, there's 12 books. By the way, this website that I use here, the Internet Classics Archive, this is a good site for different. Where's the homepage for this? There's a few texts in here that are. So yeah, I was actually taught that secret by the Knights of Columbus. America was going to be founded as a constitutional monarchy, which was a new concept. There was never a quote unquote constitutional monarchy. Then they abandoned that real quick and they came up with the idea of the president. And rather than having lords like medieval times did, lords were connected to the monarchy. If you watch Game of Thrones, you know how this all works. Rather than having lords, we would have jurisdictions with representatives, congressmen, senators, House of Representatives, whatever, to give the power back to the people and not rule under an absolute monarchy. So yeah, I just want to kind of rant about that. I can't take these fucking people serious anymore. One of the things that I have to deal with in life, unfortunately, when you're born with an above average IQ, you can only take so much fucking propaganda before you really start losing your shit. Like I'm supposed to take these people serious. Yeah, no kings. No shit. Why don't you go back about fucking a few thousand years ago when Rome decided no kings? The only people that ever put monarchies into place was Europe. Other place. Well, you get the idea. And they did that because they were feudal times. And it gave the illusion of different kingdoms having power. Like for an example, just a quick history lesson. England at one time was divided into 4 or 5 kingdoms, I believe. Um, yeah, yeah. Like I watch a lot of medieval shows, like The Last Kingdom, which is a really good show if you like Game of Thrones. That's actually what the show is about. The Last Kingdom. How eventually even Britain would dissolve their monarchies and unite under a democracy, I guess you could say. What the hell is going on? Yeah, England has a parliament. Yeah, I know that, but yes, and England still does have a monarchy, but supposedly it's more symbolic. We know that's bullshit. Now, the only reason the monarchy exists in England is for the bloodlines. But they say the monarchy really doesn't have any power. That the power is really with the what they call their leader in England. I can't even remember right now. Oh, and by the way, Boris Johnson, he's a Freemason. There's video of him on the internet in his Masonic garb. No surprise there. So, yeah, that's the other strange thing. See, yeah, our country was founded by Freemason, but they couldn't even come up with a way of ruling that would actually work for the people. This is one of the dilemmas with Luciferians, okay? They can't do shit right. You can't rule a planet right. You can't it fails at every angle. And so that's what I wanted to say. If you want people to take you serious, like if you don't like Donald Trump because of things he's doing, why don't you come talk to people like an actual fucking adult instead of doing shit, just calling people Nazis and kings and fascists, okay? Because that's not going to get you very far. Half of you don't even know the definition of the words you're using, actually. Um, yeah, and then what am I going to have to do? Well, you know what? I already did. It might be on my YouTube channel. The Sumerian Kings list. Sumer- Babylon had kings. Yeah, is it on here? The Sumerian. I gotta re-upload it. I did do a lecture on the Sumerian Kings list before. And unfortunately, someone had a really good analogy of what was going on with Democrats yesterday. Like, this assassination in Minnesota, unfortunately. Because the way these people think, they will use the blood of murdered Democrats as their new battle flag and raise it up. They'll raise the bloody flag and say, look, they're killing us in the streets. We need to rise up and revolt. Yeah, same fucking playbook out of rules for radicals. Accuse the other side of what you're guilty of. Stalin himself, an infamous real communist, had a tactic of where he would take his quote unquote useful idiots and murder them and make it look like the other side opposing him actually murdered them to just rally people together in defiance, like say, oh, they're killing us in the streets, and nothing new under the sun. Same bullshit tactics. And I'm going to end the video with this because this is something I take very serious. Well, apparently, since Rome couldn't even run a fucking monarchy correctly, and look at the monarchy in England, doesn't really hold that much power as you might think. Um, yeah, so eventually, Army of the Commonwealth. Does that word sound familiar? This is from ancient Rome. Commonwealth. Yeah, sounds familiar, doesn't it? Brutus and Cat. Yeah, these were the earlier leaders. Augustus would be the first one labeled as an actual quote unquote emperor. So there you go. No King's Day. Go shove it. And a little history lesson for you there. The United States at one time had 8 leaders before George Washington, probably all Freemason. Uh, no secret. And it just shows you another thing. Freemason can't run the fucking world. Every time they try to set up a government, a monarchy, it fucking fails. They have to go hide in their Masonic lodges. They can't admit to people what they're really about or what they really do, which is to invoke the Antichrist. I ain't sugarcoating shit. And at the end of the day, we can't coexist with these people. Christians cannot coexist with Luciferians. Period. So yeah, there is a war coming. Whether the Mexican cartels downvote my video yesterday, probably. Oh well. Or they didn't like the fact that I called out their reptilian on the Mexican flag. That's the other thing. Yeah, go shove your fucking racism. You're gonna sit there waving a flag with a fucking reptilian on it. How many Masonic lodges are in Mexico? Let's go count them. Yeah, how many Masonic lodges you think are in Mexico City? Oh, I know this for a fact. There's a side order in the Freemason that you can join when you become a Master Mason. It is called the Order of Quetzalcoatl, and it's based out of Mexico City. When you become a Master Mason, you could join side orders, like becoming a Shriner. You do that if you like being around children. Or you could become a Knights Templar. Or you could become part of the Order of Demolay, Jacques Demolay. There's different side orders for different things that you can join, depending if you want to be a wizard or a pedophile. Yeah, the choice is on you. Um, and yes, there is a side order known as the Order of Quetzalcoatl, and it is based out of Mexico City. I shit you not. There's also Masonic lodges in Iran, and of course Israel, because it's Jewish mysticism. The Zionists that run Iran currently are not Persian. Yes, Persia. Okay, big difference between Arab. If you think all Middle Eastern people are the same, then you're pretty damn racist yourself. I'm just saying, because Persia and Arabs have nothing in common. It's a totally different culture. The hardliners in Iran right now using quote unquote fundamental Islam. Yeah. Kind of like fundamental Christianity, like with the Mormon church. The Mormon church is basically Masonic, right? So, the more you know. Anyway, yeah, it's kind of it. Got cold yesterday. Is it raining again today? Yeah, I think so. So anyway, please support the channel. I am not a king, so I actually, well, I'm a Leo. I'm a wannabe king. I'm just kidding. If you could support the channel, I would appreciate it. Any questions or comments, leave them below. Hope you enjoyed those little lessons I gave you in kingdoms that obviously failed and or they didn't want to go through with it. And I'm drawing a line in the sand. You want to be fucking taken seriously? Stop using words like Nazi and king, fascist, dictator. Go shove it and start talking to people like grown ass fucking adults. And I'm looking at you too, Freemason. You want to throw down with some intellectual verbatim? I'm right here. Come find me. I'll debate anything with you. Yeah, Freemason ain't got the balls to have a philosophical debate with me. I'm telling you right now, because I already know all their secrets. They can go sit on their high goat all day. Yeah. I'm not going to be lectured by a Luciferian, period. Anyway, any questions or comments, leave them below. If you could support the channel, I would appreciate it. Take care, and God bless.